Today I'm joined by Board of Selectmen candidate Sean Keogh. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I just want to jump right in. So tell us about yourself and a little bit outside of the campaign. Who is Sean Keogh?
Gotcha. So I moved into town in 1994 when my wife and Kim and I got married, and we have three boys. Two of them are already graduated from the Westborough schools. Their names are Matthew and Michael. And then my youngest, Tyler, is a sophomore at the high school right now. I've worked in financial services for the past 30 years, received a college degree and an MBA, and also what's called the Chartered Financial Analyst designation, and have tried to use that ability to help the town over the last 5 years as part of the Advisory Finance Committee.
That's awesome to hear. I actually know your son Tyler. We're in course together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, he loves it.
Oh, great singer, great actor, wonderful person.
Thank you very much. I'll let him know.
Of course. I want to ask you, why are you running to be Board of Selectmen?
Gotcha. So, right now it's a difficult time overall for the town. I think both for people just, cooped up due to COVID-19, and also local businesses are having difficulties. I believe with my financial background, I can help. There is also currently in town a strategic plan was passed recently. And then currently there's work going on for a master plan for the town, that's going to be executed over the next, say, decade. And, I look forward to being part of implementing those plans that residents of the town have determined are most important to them.
That's really, really great to hear. As you talked about with the pandemic and all, how was campaigning this year?
So it's been a little unusual. It's more social media and reaching out via email and phone to people. I've also started standing out in the Rotary, just so people, know who I, know that I'm trying, and that I would like really to have this opportunity to support them. And, I guess doing the work of standing out there in the cold kind of lets people know that, hey, he must really want this.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of what's it called? What's it like? Oh my God, what's it called? Lawn
signs.
Lawn signs around, and
Yeah.
that's really sparked my interest. And also, I think I've seen you outside, out in the Rotary too. I love to seeing you be out there being proactive, trying to meet the people.
Thank
you. Going back into the role of the Board of Selectmen, what do you think are the responsibilities, written and unwritten, of that title?
Sure. So the members of the board report to the town voters.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's their responsibility to sort of present items at the two town meetings we have. Typically two town meetings, or sometimes additional meetings held if they're necessary. But at those town meetings, put forward what they believe are the important articles in the budget for the voters of the town to then decide upon. Really, the job of the Board of Selectmen is to manage the town offices, or to be, lead the town offices, but most importantly, to report to the town voters and ensure that they're doing what they want. And if not, then you get replaced, right? That's how it works.
Yeah. Kind of building off of this, what experiences / skills do you believe that makes you a great Board of Selectmen member / candidate?
Sure. So I think a strong financial background helps. You're working and reviewing the budget, as well as a lot of the articles we bring forward have some sort of money associated with them. There's a cost to doing these things, and having a financial background helps. And then recently, 5 years ago, I joined the Advisory Finance Committee. And that is where a lot of selectmen have started, because you really get into the details of how the town works. The Advisory Finance Committee is responsible at town meeting for putting together the book of everything that's going to be discussed and then putting forward their recommendations for all of those articles. So they really have to get into depth on everything that is coming before the town to ensure they're providing a complete opinion to all those voters.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense for like the combination of like the written roles and what you had there. I think it's a great match right there.
Thank you, Derek.
Yeah. Kind of like building, like continue on with like this like line of questioning is like, what distinguishes you from the rest of the candidates?
So I'm competing against two incumbents. They each won election to the board 3 years ago. And I think they're both strong candidates. However, neither one started on the Advisory Finance Committee, so they didn't come in with that financial background. And I think as that capability really is going to help me, especially as support the Board of Selectmen as we try to come out of this pandemic. And there may be some difficult financial decisions to make, and we want to ensure that we really do the research and make sure we make those decisions correctly.
Huh. That makes a lot of sense right there. You know, if you were elected, what are some issues that you like to solve? I know you talked about like kind of like recovering from the economic like repercussions of the pandemic was one of them, but like maybe delve into like a little bit more specifics.
Sure. I mean, I think there's an opportunity for us as part of the master plan to look to enhance our downtown. I think everybody would like it to be a little more walkable, for there to be more involved there. I know that as the master plan discussion has gone on, there is actually one of the advisors on the plan is a high school student. You may know, I believe Viggy is involved with the master plan, which is great. I think, the more that the younger members of the community get involved, the better the plan will be. I know my older boys always referred to it as West Bubble when they were here, and they would have liked more activities specifically designed for their age range. I think feedback in the master plan from high school students, although it may not get enacted in the next couple of years, would be very beneficial into sort of determining how we can change that mindset.
So you're talking about like re-energizing the downtown areas. Do you have like any idea, like specific ideas of like what we can do to like draw businesses into this area?
Sure. So there was actually a recent presentation before the Economic Development Committee, and they are probably one of the groups that's most focused on this. And it was from Hudson, and Hudson has made some changes in their downtown, and they presented sort of how they've executed those changes. And one of those was by creating a business improvement district that the local businesses bought into and contributed to, and then that money was used to help fund initiatives specifically for those downtown businesses. They were also able to use some state grants to try and reconfigure their rotary in that downtown area to make it more walkable and widen the sidewalks a little bit and allow businesses to kind of have some space in front of their shops so they could place things in front that would interest residents as they walked past. So a combination of those two, I think, in some fashion over the next couple of years could really help.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll make the middle schoolers on half days very, very happy. Throw back to Gibbons days. I remember like looking around just like the downtown, and I think it'd be really fun for like just students and overall just like having more things to do there. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to cut you off there. I looked like
no, go ahead. You're doing great.
Yeah, I just had a question about like a clarifying question. It was about like the strategic plan and the master plan. I was wondering, did you can you explain what's the difference between the two a little bit?
Sure. So the strategic plan has helped develop the guidelines for what the Board of Selectmen wants to do. The master plan, it comes out of the planning board. So the master plan looks at all of the land in town and decides how we're using that land, and is it the best way that we're using that land. So they'll look at open space, they'll look at business districts, and then they'll use that to maybe enact some zoning bylaws, things like that, to try and push us towards a future in town that we want to see. And then based on those changes, there will be items that come before a town meeting that may have some costs associated with them, so to help execute those changes. And that's when the Board of Selectmen would get involved.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for, clarifying the two plans there for me.
It had to be clarified for me initially too.
So, I was wondering if I could ask you another question, and specifically it was about like, what are some new things that you would like to introduce into like the town, whether through like policy or like legislation anyway?
Gotcha. So one of the other things that's of interest to me is for a lot of residents, especially new families trying to move into Westborough, and some of our older residents who've been here a long time, taxes is an issue, right? And, raising taxes is required to offer a lot of the services we do in town, but there are some opportunities for us to help lower those taxes. And one of those is to further develop business over near Route 9 and 495. And if we can do that and bring some new businesses in there, that'll help alleviate a little bit of the tax burden that the local residents feel.
I have a question kind of like tied into like the tax rates. I was wondering, I have no like financial background myself. I took one economics class, but this is just like off the top of my head. I was wondering, is the tax rate increasing due to the development of like new schools? I know that Gibbons went through a renovation, and then almost like after it like fails increased. Was this like in response to that?
There's a couple reasons why individual taxes go up. So one is an increase in expenses of the town, right? So that's, the employees who work for the town, get raises and things like that, and you add additional services. Also, yes, if you do add buildings, new buildings and development, they will borrow that money, and then it'll get paid off over a number of years, and those payments are made by the town. So it does have an impact. The Board of Selectmen has tried to keep that at less than 7% of the total budget. So they have a target so that it doesn't sort of get out of hand, is to try and keep it less than 7%, but it does hit people's taxes. The other thing that happens is, so all real estate in town gets assessed. So your parents' house gets assessed, everything gets assessed. And then they take the expenses of the town, and then they divide that by the assessment of everybody's home in town. So if we can add more businesses that are in big buildings with decent real estate values on them, then the taxes will get sort of spread out among a bigger assessment value, which would then lower everybody's taxes. I mean, not by a ton, but marginally. So that's one opportunity we have. It's either attack the expenses themselves, which is the numerator, or you try to make the denominator bigger.
Oh yeah, it's like costs and then revenue, or like demand. Yeah. I know like we're talking about like lowering the tax rate and like lowering the cost, or increasing like the assets in some sense. You talked about bringing in businesses from Route 9 and 495. Do you have any specific plans to like bring these businesses over to these areas?
Well, that's something that the Economic Development Committee focuses on. I would certainly support their efforts, and in some cases there are bylaws and rules that we can make then make it easier for businesses to move into town. And there's a balance, right? You don't want to make it too easy. You want to have some rules or limitations so that things don't get out of hand, or depending on the type of business, that they're not allowed to do whatever they want, but you need to make them liberal enough that companies are interested in coming to town. So it's a balance between that, preserving open space, things like that. So you do want to look at each business individually, but there are some things we can do to make it more attractive in general for businesses to come to Westborough.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Kind of like also ties into like re-energizing the downtown area too. Like it almost like is corresponds or correlates to each other.
Correct.
Yeah. Last serious question. I have a few silly ones after. It's like,
Sure.
What unique perspective do you think you'll be able to bring to the board?
Gotcha. So, I think as a 25-year resident, having raised, my family here, that is a little bit different perspective than other candidates, some of the other candidates. I think my financial background is really kind of the key differentiator between myself and the other candidates. As a member of the Advisory Finance Committee for the last 5 years, and I'm currently its chair, that has provided detailed insight into things that, the workings of the town that others haven't obtained by doing that same work. And so that is really the primary advantage that I feel my candidacy has over the others running for this office.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see all that coming together. So we're going to digress and try to go into some silly questions. I was wondering, what is your favorite place in Westborough?
Oh, I get myself in trouble here. We love a lot of the restaurants in town. I think with my boys, I think Moe's is probably our favorite place. But we've tried to actually support a lot of local restaurants recently, and be good citizens of the town in that regard. So I could probably list 7 or 8 that are on our top list. So
yeah, definitely one thing I appreciate about Westborough is all the food choices. You can almost travel across the world in like one street on like Route 9.
Right. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Another one is like you said, being a resident here for like 25 years. Do you have like a particular favorite memory of Westborough or like event that Westborough held?
The 300th year celebration was pretty cool. I think for me, one of the great memories I have in Westborough is for years coaching my sons with everything they did. So it's sort of not one memory, it's a lot of memories. And I really enjoyed doing that. I coached every sport they played, at whatever it was. I wanted to be out there with them. And I think it really wasn't until they had sort of finished their athletic careers and moved on to other things that's when I decided to start doing things to support the town and join the Advisory Finance Committee. But gosh, probably 10 or 15, I'm close to 15 years. It was always coaching soccer, baseball, rec basketball. I mean, I think they got the rec basketball back this spring, didn't they? I know they're trying to do something.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do like a 3v3 tournament.
Yeah.
I
remember my son Michael just loved rec basketball. Could not get enough of it.
It has a cult following in like Westborough High School. Everyone loves it. It's competitive but also fun. It's a nice balance between the two.
Well, I loved when the rec department started the Westborough TV show and would bring the kids on to trash talk and stuff. That was pretty cool. That was the hype that was going on was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Hopefully that comes back.
Yeah. Once a week, it's an instant classic. You got to listen to it. And then lastly, favorite ice cream flavor from Yeoman's. This is a deal breaker. This is a big deal breaker.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough because my favorite isn't going to be everybody else's favorite, but I'm a huge black raspberry fan.
Ooh,
Like
okay.
since I was little, black raspberry in a waffle cone. In a
Oh.
waffle cone. That's it.
Can't go wrong with the waffle cone. Got any toppings? Just raspberry.
Just as is. That's perfect for me.
All right. Oh, might have to give that a try. I always go with the mint chocolate chip. Just never misses with that.
You can't go wrong with mint chocolate chip. I think finally my kids stopped getting like the cotton candy and all that stuff. That's way too sweet for me.
Oh, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Yeah. I want to say thank you for your time and
Derek, thank you. This has been terrific. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course, and best of luck on March 2nd, if I'm correct. Next Tuesday.
This Tuesday.
Yeah, best of luck.
And
I know you'll do great
on the Rotary, and I look forward to seeing you around town, Derek. Thanks.
Oh, definitely. I'll drop by and say hi.